How do you feel? Where is the real estate world going and moving towards with AI? Everything is infinitely easier today with AI, with listings, I'm sure, and other things. How do you see it?
There's changes that are going to happen with AI. We've got these three big 500-pound gorillas in the room with Zillow, Realtor.com, and Homes.com. I think AI is going to take away some of their presence. Remember, they're not real estate brokerages, they're just marketing platforms. And what they do is they advertise a picture of your home,
Right.
and they try to get leads, and then they sell the leads to agents. Agents pay a fortune for those leads. I don't, because I don't believe those leads are of any real value, and they're very low probability leads. But AI is going to make it completely different now. In a few more years, people are going to depend on AI. I think they said Google searches were down 20%.
Wow.
This last time period, I'm not sure what it was, but it's going to go down further and further because people are getting better answers from AI without advertising.
Right. ChatGPT, Anthropic, Claude, and people are utilizing it more and more than Google nowadays. Somebody watching this, again, a real estate agent, even a broker, and they say, you know what? Hadn't had any luck. I've heard of people getting into real estate for years, not doing a single sale. What has worked for you when you started out that you can advise them?
To work hard. A lot of real estate agents get into this and they forget that it's a four-letter word, work, W-O-R-K, and they don't like to do the work. It's also very difficult because if you allow it, other people will use up all your time.
Yes.
You have to be very good at making sure you manage your time. Time is more important than money in many cases.
Yes. Wow.
And you got to like it, right? If you don't like doing it and it's hard work and you have to put a lot of hours into it, you're gonna really feel the pain. But if you like it, it's not so bad. And you get every day is something different. Every day is somebody new or something new or some new problem. Whether with listings, people always have problems. If they forgot to pull a permit to finish their basement, and I want to say forgot in quotes, now I've got to solve that problem. I've got to get architectural drawings. I've got to pull the permits. I've got to help the people get it all legal. Or in some cases, we have to remove everything in the basement and tear it out because they didn't pull permits.
Wow.
And giving people the correct advice about how they should move forward with selling their house and what they should do and what they should be keeping an eye on, it's very, very important.
Bruce, have you ever had a house or a client that you turned down and said, you know what, you should use somebody else? I can't take this listing.
So in my case, the bad news is no.
Wow.
I work with my wife, and my wife is the brains of the operation. She's very smart. My wife tells me that we need to evaluate more about how much time somebody is going to take rather than how much their commission is going to be, because we have a lot of really bad time wasters in the 35 years.
Wow.
People who aren't listening to our advice, people who have one of the things they say, you should never lie to your doctor, you should never lie to your attorney,
Right.
and you should never lie to your real estate agent.
Wow.
Because things that you mislead us on make it really hard to solve problems later on, like the finished basement not having permits.
That's very powerful. It's very true, by the way. I think honesty is the best policy in all areas of life. How many people work for you as agents?
So I have about 30 agents.
Wow.
And I have a couple of people who are instructors in my school that sometimes they sub for me and sometimes they'll run a class on their own. New Jersey requires continuing education for real estate agents. And so every 2 years, a real estate agent has to take 12 hours of continuing education. Our school also offers that. And the people who work for me in my school are able to teach that continuing education also.
That's fantastic. So if somebody's considering, or agents are watching this and they're saying, I've been working for a real estate firm and I would like to see what Best Realty is offering, what are your packages for real estate agents and realtors or brokers perhaps in terms of continuing education, monthly fees, perhaps maybe even having some kind of an office in Highland Park?
The thing I can tell you that when people are considering an office is many times agents, when you're thinking about where they should work, are looking at the wrong things. The 90% of a real estate agent's time is spent generating leads. And if people don't understand that, then they're in for a hard time. You're always trying to generate leads. The generating leads is difficult, and
Right.
a million people will sell you stuff that's extremely expensive that really doesn't work so well, and people get sucked on that, get hooked on that because it's really easy. It takes really none of your work to try to get that business. You just write a check.
Yeah.
But they're horrible leads. So really generating leads is very, very difficult. So the question is, when somebody comes to me and they want to work for me, we tell them that here's what we're going to do. First of all, I'm going to give you all the advice. I will tell you everything that works and everything that doesn't. I'm not afraid of you stealing my business. I'll give you all the information you need to move forward. The next thing is, and it's very important, if you have a really big office, who do you talk to when you have a problem? Who do you call when at 11 o'clock at night something happened? Well, the whole benefit of working for us is that we answer all our phone calls.
Wow.
If my wife is available and you call her, you get to talk to her right then and there, or you can call me and talk to me anytime you want. And I've got a couple of really funny stories. I had a client in Old Bridge, a very, very intense person. And I told him, listen, your house is going on the market, but I'm going on vacation. I'll be glad to put it on the market, but I'll be gone for a week. And I was in Italy. So in Italy, my wife and I go to the Vatican.
Wow.
And we're in the Sistine Chapel. And my wife says to me, turn your phone off, because that's what they say, the rules. Well, all of a sudden my phone starts to ring in my pocket. So quickly I reach in my pocket, I shut it off. I don't take the call, I shut it off. But my wife takes my phone away from me. Now, she puts it in her purse. Then we're coming out of the Sistine Chapel, out of the Vatican, into the streets in Italy. She says, give me your wallet, because this is where they all pickpocket people. So I hand her my wallet. So now I have no cell phone and no wallet. And we get on one of those tour buses that goes around, you hop on and hop off. So at one point, my wife and my kids hopped off the tour bus. And I said, I'm not going with you guys. I'm tired. I'm staying on. And I was under the assumption I knew where we were staying. So the tour bus takes off with me on it, and them gone.
Oh my goodness.
But I have no wallet, no cell phone, and I don't know where we really are staying. So I walked around Rome for 6 hours, lost, without able to communicate. What I finally did was I went into a little cafe, and it was an Indian guy who was the owner of the cafe, and he understood English very well, thank goodness. And I talked him into letting me use his computers for free. And Italian keyboards are different, so I had to figure out how to use an Italian keyboard. And I was able to then go through all the hotels, and I recognized the desk clerk at the hotel we checked in on. That's the only thing I knew. And luckily, she had been from New Jersey, so I remembered her, so I recognized her. And I got the address of the hotel, and then finally got back to the hotel. My wife was ready to call the Italian police department and send them out to search for me, because 6 hours missing with no wallet, no cell phone, she was nervous. Now, the connection of that story to real estate is the phone call that came in was from my seller in Old Bridge. And because they didn't answer that phone, he wanted to cancel the listing. He was angry at me for not answering the phone. And I said, I didn't answer the phone because I was in the Sistine Chapel in the Vatican. So again, one of the benefits of working with us is that we do answer our phone all the time, except in the Sistine Chapel in the Vatican.
Wow, what a story. That's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Do you feel that in your best realty, you have a chance to really work with the agents? I mean, I'm sure you mentor them, like you said, you have the continuing education courses, and you give them all your knowledge. Why aren't you threatened by the competition? Because sometimes there are people in the real estate world that are very threatened. They feel, I've met some people personally that feel like, you're going to take my business. I would like for you to work somewhere else. In your practice or in your brokerage, how do you maintain that, collaboration and giving of information and mentoring your staff, and then working together and not feeling that, I guess.
So you're hitting on a couple of things here. The very first thing is I tell people, when you join a real estate office, everybody in the office is your competitor. in your own office.
Wow.
Because you're all swimming in the same pond looking for the same fish. So everybody is a competitor. So never talk to anybody and give them any of your information, because all your information is secret and valuable. Wow. So if you were to leak out that I know Mr. Jones is going to sell his house, if somebody hears that, they're going to go around behind your back and go straight to Mr. Jones. There's no way that you can protect yourself. So just consider that everybody in your office is your competitor, and you don't want to trust them. And I know that sounds sad, but that's the way it is.
Wow.
So again, in my office, we tell people when they come in, and everybody in the office is your competitor, but we will be willing to talk to you at any time. So if you need advice, come to us first. And that's why answering the phone all the time is so important, because we want them to come to us first and ask us.
Okay.
The other thing is the people who are in the industry, they come and go. 80% of real estate agents fail. 80% of real estate agents fail. The National Association of Realtors has lost a couple 100,000 members this year because the market is slowing down. So when you realize that 80% of people are going to fail, you've got to recognize what's going to cause somebody to fail. And that's they're not achieving what their goals are. So you've got to figure out how you can get them to get to what their goals are. And so one of the things we do is I have many, many listings. I get a lot of bank-owned listings. I work with the big banks. When they foreclose on a property, they'll give me the homes to sell, but those homes are vacant, and those homes, the banks, the people who manage the banks' REOs are in Texas.
Oh, wow.
So what happens is the younger agents in my office that are new, that are starting out, they can do open houses in my bank-owned properties, and there's no way they can make a mistake because there's nobody there. Right? Nobody knows exactly what they're doing. The banks in Texas don't know exactly what they're doing.
Wow.
And if they get there late, there's nobody going to yell at them. Sometimes a younger agent will do an open house with a seller in the house, and they'll say the wrong thing to the seller.
Right.
And then you've got to repair the damage they did. You don't have to worry about that with bank-owned properties.
That's incredible.
And it works out really well. And people who are new, doing open houses gets them the opportunity to talk to people.
Yes.
And we've had recently an agent, a brand new agent, first deal was doing an open house at a bank-owned property in East Brunswick. And so, it's again, a benefit to people.